In the Canadian jungle, where the cold can freeze life, a gray ghost emerges to dominate the blizzard. But when the scent of blood spreads across the white snow, will the North American gray wolf be able to hold its throne against the giants of the wilderness? The Canadian jungle, the North American gray wolf, a bloody encounter between the beasts of the deep forest. In the remote northern frontier of the American continent, where winter is not just a season but a death sentence lasting 8 months, exists a kingdom of ice and fog. Here, temperatures of -40 degrees Celsius can freeze the heartbeat of any creature in just a few short minutes. Amidst this pristine wilderness, a ghost silently appears, not to escape death, but to rule it. This is the Canadian jungle, where the only rule etched into the white snow is survival or consumption. In this land, it is not tigers or leopards, but the North American gray wolf that harmonizes nature's most brutal symphony. They hunt not only with claws and speed, but with their sharp intellect and the strength of their tightly bound pack, almost inseparable. And it is here that the most ferocious clashes between the beasts of the deep forest erupt, where every inch of land is soaked with sweat, blood, and the most intense will to survive on the planet. As winter enters its harshest phase, Canadian rivers freeze completely, transforming into deadly trails through the wilderness. The soft snow has now compressed to a depth of meters, making even simple movement an exhausting ordeal. In a world where every calorie of energy is as precious as gold, any mismanagement of energy costs lives. In the dim twilight, as the snowstorm began to howl with furious fury, a dark shadow emerged from the snow, followed by other dark shadows in a long gray ribbon. They did not move chaotically, but followed an unchanging order forged over millions of years of evolution. The pack of wolves moved in single file across the thick snow. The Alpha led the charge, tearing through the snow, the others following precisely in the lead's footprints to conserve energy, a symbolic image of military discipline. If the tiger is a lone assassin, the gray wolf is an elite special forces unit. Their secret to dominating the Canadian jungle lies not in their individual size, but in their monarchical system and iron discipline. A pack typically consists of 5 to 20 members, operating as a single entity under the skillful coordination of an alpha pair. In their world, the weak are protected in the center, the strong lead the way, and the smartest one takes on the role of commander-in-chief of the battlefield. This time, their target was a giant, the North American moose. Weighing 10 times as much as a mature wolf, a single kick from it would be enough to shatter the skull of any hunter. But the pack of wolves didn't flinch. They began to deploy their encirclement and wear and tear strategy. The pack split into several directions. Some rushed forward to create a diversion, while the rest silently circled around to the rear, hiding in the bushes. This battle didn't begin with lightning-fast pounces, but with a persistent race. Gray wolves can persistently pursue their prey for tens of kilometers across deep snow. They don't attack immediately. They bark loudly, pressure, and harass to force the moose to move continuously until its heart races and its lungs burn from the cold air. The exhausted moose retreated into a narrow corner. The alpha wolf gave the signal. Immediately, the two youngest wolves charged in. As the giant moose collapsed, the alpha delivered the decisive bite. This was the moment when ruthlessness and efficiency reached their peak. There was no wasted energy, no unnecessary actions. The prey's blood stained the white snow red, marking a resounding victory of collective strength. One moose fell, meaning the entire wolf pack would have enough food to survive the darkest days of winter. However, the smell of fresh blood in the jungle wasn't just an invitation to the wolves. It was an invitation to another colossal deity, always ready to seize the spoils with brute force. But in the Canadian jungle, the one who kills the prey isn't necessarily the one who gets the feast. From deep within the wilderness, a colossal deity with brute strength has sniffed out the fresh blood. That's Grizzly, the grizzly bear, a butcher weighing over 400 kilograms, possessing claws as long as blades, and a strength capable of breaking the spine of any animal with a single blow. breathtaking confrontation erupts between the two top forces in the food chain. On one side is the absolute power of an individual. On the other is the sophisticated coordination of a group. The bear majestically approaches the deer carcass, unafraid of the numbers. To it, the wolves are merely troublesome intruders. But for the wolf pack, this was the family's livelihood, and they wouldn't give up easily. The battle began. The bear pounced fiercely, and the wolves scattered like lightning. A young wolf lunged forward, luring the bear into a frenzy, while others sneaked behind, launching lightning-fast bites. This was a game of patience. The gray wolves knew they couldn't win against the bear in a direct, close-quarters fight. They employed guerrilla tactics, constantly harassing, biting, and retreating, exhausting the bear and enraging it. The encounter ended without a fall, but it was a powerful testament to the ferocity of the jungle. Here, brute strength sometimes succumbs to unity and intelligence. The wolf pack had defended its capture, but at the cost of exhaustion. And the real challenge lies ahead as a dark blizzard approaches, bringing with it hunger and the living fortresses of the Arctic. In the desolate tundra, where temperatures reach minus 40 degrees Celsius, the Canadian rainforest is no longer a place for the faint-hearted. Amidst the swirling snow and howling winds that drown out all sound, massive black masses loom, standing motionless like ancient rocks. These are bison, the North American bull, the true living tanks of the wilderness. They are the most resilient animals on the planet, possessing a robust physique and almost impenetrable primal strength. The most distinctive feature of the bison is its massive bulging muscles, concentrated in its shoulders, forming a huge hump that gives it enough force to overturn a truck. To withstand the biting cold, they are covered in a thick, coarse double coat of fur, especially the shaggy black mane around their necks and chests, like a natural armor. On top of their heads are short but extremely strong horns, sharp and incredibly powerful, ready to crush anyone who dares challenge their authority. However, the most fearsome weapon of the bison is not just individual strength, but absolute unity through the surrounding tactic. As soon as they sense the chill from the predator's claws, the entire herd reacts by gathering into a unified mass. The mature bulls, weighing nearly a ton with their muscular chests, will stand in the outermost line, connected to each other to form a solid wall of flesh. At the center of this encirclement, the calves and their mothers are completely protected from the ferocity of the blizzard and the enemy. This is a true living fortress, where sharp horns always point outward as a warning of death. The bison can stand motionless for hours in the midst of a storm, forming an unchanging, unified mass. On the other side of the battle lines, the gray shadows of the wolf pack have begun to appear, their eyes gleaming with the gnawing hunger after days of starvation. The majestic silence of these land-based battleships contrasts sharply with the desperate hunger of empty stomachs, signaling an impending battle of wits between predatory intelligence and the eternal instinct of defense. The wolves understand that a direct attack on these massive muscle blocks would be suicide. They began a patient dance of death, circling the living fortress, barking and feigning attacks to incite panic. The wolves' target wasn't strength, but psychology. They needed a bison to lose its composure, leave its position, or turn its back on its comrades. Just a small crack in the formation, and the fortress would crumble. The struggle lasted for hours in the biting cold. Exhaustion began to creep through the herd, and a young bison, too eager to drive out the enemy, charged out of the ranks. It was a fatal mistake. The defenses crumbled. Chaos erupted as the bison began to flee, losing their greatest weapon, unity. Deadly bites brought down the prairie giant. Warm blood evaporated in the freezing air, marking the end of a fortress and the rebirth of a bloodthirsty clan. The wolves' victory over Fort Bison closed a chapter of collective survival, but it opened a different perspective on their greatest adversary. If wolves are a symbol of unity, then the grizzly bear is the embodiment of absolute individual strength. However, behind the ferocious predatory exterior we just witnessed, the grizzly possesses an inner life and surprisingly sophisticated survival instincts. Unlike wolves, which share resources with their pack, each adult grizzly is an independent kingdom. They possess vast territories, hundreds of square kilometers in size, where boundaries are not marked by blood, but by deep claw marks on pine trees and a pungent musk scent. It's a quiet yet breathtaking Game of Thrones. A male grizzly bear may spend its entire life patrolling its territory, ready to engage in bloody battles with intruders to protect its dominance at hunting grounds and streams. The secret to the grizzly's dominance lies not only in its 10 centimeter claws, but also in its sharp intellect. They are considered one of the most intelligent animals in North America, possessing an astonishing long-term memory. An old bear can accurately remember the location of every berry bush, every stream teeming with salmon, or the carcasses buried under the snow years ago. While wolves constantly move in search of prey, the grizzly operates like a strategist, knowing when to appear and assert its dominance. The grizzly's overwhelming power is not natural. It is the result of a patient nurturing process in the earth. While blizzards rage outside, inside the warm cave, a biological miracle is taking place. Thanks to the late nesting embryonic ability, life only truly develops when the mother bear has accumulated enough fat reserves for her long hibernation. In the middle of winter, bear cubs are born in incredibly fragile forms, the size of a squirrel, hairless, and with their eyes closed. They are so vulnerable that a single gust of cold wind could take their lives. For months on end, the mother bear endures losing 40% of her body weight, going without food or water, just to convert her stored fat into milk that is 15 times more energy dense than cow's milk, cradling her cubs in the warmth of her enormous chest. The harsh winter passes, giving way to green shoots emerging from the melting snow, but the power struggle beneath the ancient forest canopy never ends. Gray wolves, grizzly bears, and bison, each species, is a note in the harsh yet proud symphony of survival in nature. North American gray wolves are not simply cold-blooded killers. They are the architects of the ecosystem, the keepers of the ancient forest in motion and balance. Wherever the howling echoes through the sleepless night, the ancient forest still breathes intensely. The sacrifice of one today is the breath of another tomorrow, an eternal and perfect cycle of nature. Between the brutal strength of the grizzly bear and the collective intelligence of the wolf pack, which beast impresses you more? Leave your opinion in the comments below. If you enjoy thrilling adventures exploring the wild, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to join us on our next journeys into the heart of the forest. Thank you for watching, and see you again.
The giant's claws pulled him down as if to tear the savanna apart. But only a roar from the buffalo herd echoed back. Could the hunter now keep his life? The indomitable giant. The black buffalo's rage makes the lion run away. Dawn crept over the horizon, dragging a thin golden light over the cracked plains. The dry grass tilted in the wind, revealing the fine dust that floated in the cold air, left over from the night before. From afar, the ground seemed to tremble. The sound was deep, steady, and heavy like the drums of an ancient tribe. The herd of Cape buffalo appeared, dense and dense, like a river slowly flowing through the savanna. In the middle of that flow, one figure stood out above all. Kubu, a mature male with a broad back like a mountainside smoothed by time. His black fur was covered with a thin layer of frost, his sharp curved horns gleaming in the morning light like two axes forged through countless rainy seasons. His eyes were calm, but hidden within them was a layer of coldness of someone who had lived through too many trials of fire. Kubu left the herd earlier than any other individual. He walked slowly toward the muddy ground that still had some moisture left. His heavy feet each step seemed to stamp a mark of power on the ground. The cool mud clung to his two front hooves, cooling the heat in his massive body. When he lowered his head, his breath came out in two white mists that gradually dissipated into the air. Behind, the buffalo herd continued their journey. The dust rose in hazy streaks, wrapping around the early morning sunlight to form a thin curtain hanging over the steppe. Above, the sky was clear and quiet, as if holding back its own breath. No roars, no sounds of hunters. But the silence was not peace, but rather the moment before a great storm, when everything stood still, waiting for an invisible violence to come. In Africa, there was a creature that few wanted to confront. Not the lion, not the hyena, but the giant that carried the storm that never ceased. Kubu raised his head, staring straight at the endless savanna. His eyes showed no warning, but somewhere a small tremor came from the ground. No predator appeared, but his instincts knew something was watching his every step. Not a sound, just a tiny change in the wind that only those who lived long enough could read. The savanna beneath him lit up bit by bit, but in that light, another darkness was rising from the far edge of the land. A danger that did not roar, did not rush, but was approaching. And Kubu, the indomitable giant, was the first to feel it. The savanna shifted as the sun rose a little further. The last of the dew evaporated from the grass and left the ground dry as if under a curse. Kubu left the mud. The dirt stuck to his feet, falling in small, dark brown flakes. Heat began to rise from his giant body, and with it an alertness more instinctive than any sense known to man. Then a slight movement crept through the air. Not a sound, not a tremor. Just a change in wind, carrying a very thin, very faint, fishy smell, but enough to make Kubu raise his head. The plovers pecking at insects under the grass suddenly shot straight up into the air, scattering into a small cloud. They didn't cry. They just flew. And the way they flew was what told the savanna that something was coming. In this land, what you hear is not necessarily scary, but what you don't hear is often the end. Kubu stood still, his ears swiveling slightly like two wind-detecting fans. A moment of unusual silence lasted. The familiar sounds of insects and grass rustling all disappeared, as if someone had used a hand to extinguish them. Under the tall grass on the right, a pale yellow curve was crawling slowly. The breath of the creature behind it was so thin that it almost blended with the wind. Three low, long, compressed yellow shadows approached bit by bit. Lionesses. Masters of the arts disappeared, but always present. Their fur blended perfectly with the burnt grass. Their eyes did not blink, did not hurry. Each step was light, as if the savanna were supporting each hoof. Kubu did not see them yet. But the savanna did. And the savanna spoke to him in a language only those who had lived long enough could understand. The herd of buffalo, which had been there before sunrise, lifted their heads a little higher, stretched their nostrils, and inhaled deeply. The smell was more distinct. The smell of lion fur, the scent of the hunting grounds that had lingered since the night before, the scent of a pack that had followed. A gap opened in the grass. Not large. The size of a small antelope. But that was all the lion needed to choose its target. Kubu was the target. Not the herd, not the calves. But the one who had been cut off from the mainstream, standing in the middle of the clearing without a guard. The three lions stopped in the grass. The wind slowed. One of them lifted its head, its yellow eyes more visible through the grass. Their breathing was low. Their bodies were taut as bowstrings. No roars, no footsteps. Only the cold certainty of three hunters preparing to right the end of a giant. Kubu didn't know they were there. He only knew the savanna was out of rhythm. The birds stopped. There was no reason for things to stop like this, except for one. Cape buffalo are born the size of a rock, but attacks are always aimed at the moment they are alone. Kubu stood there, bathed in the early morning light, his breathing heavy, his gaze creeping across the grass, where three deadly shadows were compressed, waiting for the right moment. In the savanna, there was no siren. There was only a single moment when hunter and prey looked in the same direction, and the space between them began to narrow. A very small sound rang out from the grass, but it was enough to make Kubu instinctively turn his head. At that moment, the ground right next to his waist exploded, as if someone had pulled the grass carpet. A lioness jumped straight onto his back. The entire weight of nearly 150 kilograms hit Kubu's back, causing him to tilt his body. Its claws dug deep into the thick skin, creating two long, crimson tears. The savannah exploded. Kubu jerked his body. All the muscles under the black skin rolled up like stretched ropes. The lion on his back was jerked back half a beat, but its claws clung tightly, not letting go. A sharp bite hit his hind leg. Kubu fell to the ground with one leg. At this moment, any buffalo could have ended. And most did. The savannah seemed to freeze in a single moment. Buffalo and lion, earth and blood, wind and breath all mingled in the chaos of a perfect ambush. Kubu tried to stand, but his legs trembled with every step. The weight of the three predators was pulling his center of gravity down, inch by inch, as if to sink his massive body into the ground. The buffalo fell. That would be the end. Far behind, the buffalo herd began to make noise. A few of the females let out low, drum-like bellows. They couldn't see Kubu, but they sensed the disturbance from the ground through their hooves, a signal the species trusted more than any other sense. The herd was turning. Far away. Kubu was still trapped between the claws of three hunters born to kill with persistence. A new wind blew, not carrying the scent of lions, not the scent of buffalo, but the scent of death, the kind of scent that only appears when the savannah knows the end of a creature. Just as Kubu seemed about to fall, the ground shook again, stronger, thicker, as if dozens of boulders were rolling down the distant hills toward the battle. A deep, rolling, roaring sound rose from deep within the earth like muffled thunder. The buffalo herd had returned. And this time, they were not running. Black shadows emerged through the dust, large, heavy, shoulders as broad as cliffs. Each pair of curved horns pointed straight at the lions, gleaming coldly in the sun. Their eyes were dark red, filled with the primitive anger that only appeared when the herd was threatened. A young bull roared first. roar tore through the wind, scraping through dry trees and slamming into the lions trying to hold the perimeter. The lioness on Kubu's back raised her head, her ears twitching. She heard that sound, the sound that signaled death could come from a direction she did not expect. Two other buffaloes charged from two directions, their massive bodies tearing dust from their hooves. One jumped up the small slope, putting all its weight on its horns, and then rammed straight into the side of the lion that was biting Kubu's leg. The lion was thrown off the ground, spun in the air, and fell hard into the dust, curling up in pain. It roared weakly, trying to stand up, but one leg was already broken. The savannah shook. This was no longer a hunt. This was a counterattack by those who never abandoned their own kind. A female buffalo, but her eyes lit up like two burning embers, charged at the lion that was about to leap. She charged forward, her horns hooking the soft flesh under the lion's belly, lifting it off the ground for a brief moment. A sharp screech echoed, the sound of a flesh being cut by something not meant to be cut. The lion fell, rolling on the ground, dust swirling around it. In that moment, the hunter's pride was crushed by the madness of the buffalo herd. The strength of the entire savannah gathered into one mass. The other buffaloes rushed forward in an arc, heads bowed, breathing like angry war horses. They stomped hard, the dirt under their hooves exploding with dust like small mines. In that circle, each lioness understood what books never told her. A hunter could also die under the horns of this prey. A lion tried to roar in threat, but was answered by three stomps from three different directions. The air shook. The grass bent in time with the angry rhythm of the buffalo herd. There was no choice. The leader of the herd took a step back. Then two. He half-turned, his eyes still torn between Kubu and the surrounding buffalo. But instinct told him that a second's delay here could see him torn apart. The other two followed, low to the ground, tails drooping in confusion and fear. They retreated, not roaring, not turning, the silence the predator's most grievous admission of defeat. In the dust, Kubu breathed heavily, in bursts like bellows whistling over hot metal. An old bull approached, gently touching his horns to his flank, not to ask, but to confirm that his member was not dead. Black eyes followed the fleeing lions. No chase, no show. Just standing there, fierce and full of power, as if the savannah had just witnessed the return of a throneless dynasty. And in the center of the encirclement, Kubu lifted his head, his breathing shallow. The buffalo knew they had won. Not because the lions had fled, but because they had fought as a unified force that would have made even Africa's most fearsome predator retreat. The sun was creeping westward, stretching the buffalo herd's shadows across the cracked earth. The dust of battle had settled, leaving only the dried blood on Kubu's back and the deep hoof prints where they had stood. The afternoon wind carried the scent of dry grass, the scent of the lion's defeat fading into the evening light. Kubu walked slowly, but each step was as sure as a stake driven into the savannah. Oxpeckers landed on his back, rummaging through the scratches, picking up the torn skin that had been the clearest sign of a battle that had nearly cost him his life. Beside him, the young buffalo moved closer, a few pairs of young eyes looking up at his massive body, as if looking at a rock they believed would never fall. In this land, there are those who are called kings, but there are those who do not need a throne and still force all other species to be wary. A single black buffalo can fall before its claws. But a herd of black buffalo in a rage can make even the hunter run away to save his life. The herd gradually moved away from the blood-soaked ground, merging into the sea of yellow grass, turning color under the sunset. Tomorrow there will be new hunts, new deaths, new challenges between tusks and curved horns. But today the savannah chose to remember one thing. There are battles where the prey does not bow, and there are moments when the power of the herd is greater than the title of predator. Kubu did not look back. He just kept walking, carrying fresh wounds and an old truth that the savannah had whispered for ages. As long as those horns stand straight, the storm in this giant's chest will never be extinguished. Savannah still has many secrets. We have only just begun to open the first door. If the story of this indomitable giant has captivated you, there are many other battles waiting for you out there, where the hunter can become the runner and the prey can become a legend. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next survival journeys among the red dust, fangs, and horns of the savanna warriors. Like and share if you want more people to see the power of those who seem to be born to run.